Hi, good morning everyone. I am Marjorie P. Kulin from Batalod 2D and to our instructor, Mr. Aaron Espinas. Good morning, sir. Our topic for today is all about principle of animation, intended learning outcome. At the end of the lesson, the student should be able to understand the basic principle of animation, learn the concept of animation, differentiate the type of animation. Okay, student, let's start our discussion. What is animation? Animation is a method in which figures are manipulated to appear as moving image. In traditional animation, images are drawn or painted by hand on a transparent cellular sheet to be photographed and exhibited on film. Today, most animation are made with computer-generated imagery, or called CGI. Computer animation can be very detailed 3D animation, while 2D computer animation can be used for stylistic reason, low bandwidth, or faster real-time rendering. Other common animation methods apply a stop-motion techniques to 2 and 3-dimensional objects like paper cutouts, puppets, or clay figures. There are 12 basic principles of animation. First is squash and stretch, anticipation, stagging, straight ahead action and pose to pose, follow through and overlapping action, slow in and slow out, arc, secondary action, timing, exaggeration, solid drawing, and appear. Squash and stretch is to give a sense of width and flexibility to draw object. It can be applied to a simple object like a bouncing ball or more complex construction like the musculature of human face. Second is anticipation. Is used to prepare the audience for an action and to make the action appear more realistic. A dancer jumping on the floor has to bend the knee first. A golfer making a swing has to swing the club back first. The technique can also be used for less physical action, such as character locking off screen to anticipate someone's arrival, or attention focusing on an object that a character is about to pick up. Stagging. It is known as in theater and film. Its purpose is to direct the audience attention and make it clear what is the greatest important in a screen. Johnston and Thomas defined it as the presentation of any idea so that it is completely and unmistakably clear. Whether that idea is an action, a personality, an expression, or a mood. This can be done by various means, such as placement of a character in the frame, the use of light and shadow, or the angle and the position of the camera. The essence of this principle is giving focus on what is relevant and avoiding unnecessary detail. Straight ahead action and pose to pose. These are two different approaches to the drawing process. Straight ahead action screen are animated frame by frame from beginning to the end, while pose to pose involves starting with drawing a few keyframes and then filling in the intervals later. Straight ahead action creates a more fluid, dynamic illusion of movements and is better for producing a realistic action sequence. On the other hand, it is hard to maintain proportion and to create exact, convincing process along the way. Pose to pose work better from dynamic or emotional screen, where composition and relation to the surroundings are greater importance. Follow through and overlapping action is a general heading for two closely related techniques, which help to render movements more realistically and help to give the impression that characters follow the laws of physics, including the principle of inertia. Follow through means that loosely paired parts of body should continue moving after the character has stopped, and the parts should keep moving beyond the points where the character stopped only then subsequently pulled back toward the center of mass or exhibit various degree oscillation damping. Overlapping action is the tendency for parts of body to move the different rates. An arm will move on different timing of head, and so on. Slow in and slow out. Slow in and slow out. The movement of objects in the real world, such as the human body, animals, vehicles, and etc., needs time to accelerate and slow down. For this reason, more pictures are drawn near the beginning and end of an action, creating a slow in and slow out effects in order to achieve more realistic movements. This concept emphasizes the object extreme process. Inversely, fewer pictures are drawn with the middle of the animation to emphasize faster action. This principle applied to character moving between two extreme poses, such as sitting down and standing up, but also for an animate, moving object like the bouncing ball. Arc. Most natural action tends to follow the arc trajectory. An animation should adhere to this principle by following implied arc for great realism. The techniques can be applied to a moving limb by rotating joint. A throw object moving along parabolic trajectory. The exemption is mechanical movement which is typically moved in a straight line. Secondary action. Adding secondary action to the main action gives a screen more life and can help to support the main action. A person walking can simultaneously swing their arms or give them their pocket, speak or whistle, or express emotion through facial expression. The important things about secondary action is that they emphasize, rather than take attention away from the main action. Timing refers to the number of drawings or frames from a given action, which translate to the speed of an action on film. On a purely physical level, correct timing makes an object appear to obey the law of physics. Timing is critical for establishing a character mode, emotion, and action. It can also be a device to communicate aspects of a character personality. Exaggeration is an effect especially useful for animation, as animated motion that strives for a perfect imitation of reality can look static and dull. The level of exaggeration depends on whether one seeks realism, or a particular style, like a caricature, or the style of specific artist. Solid drawing. The principle of solid drawing means taking into account form in three-dimensional space, or giving them volume and width. The animator needs to be a skilled artist and has to understand the basic of three-dimensional shape, anatomy, width, balance, light, and shadow, etc. Appeal. In a cartoon character corresponding to what would be called charisma in an actor. A character who is appealing is not necessarily sympathetic. Villains or monster can be unappealing. The important thing is that the viewer feels the character is real and interesting. A common process in animation generating intermediate frames between two images, called keyframe, to give the appearance that the first image evolved smoothly and the second image is called tweening. In-betweening or tweening is generally in a short form for a beginning or filling in the space in between two frames in animation. Flash or animate. There is mostly two types, motion tweening and shape tweening. Motion tweening is when an object is motion and you're adding the tween or to tweak, the generate motion. First is cell or cellular animation, 2D animation, 3D animation, motion graphic, and lastly stop motion. Cell or celluloid animation. This is the original hand-drawn cell animation, where the artist literally has to draw thousands of images on special paper and have them photographed, frame by frame. Before the digital revolution, traditional animation was the norm in the industry, including Disney. Traditional animation is a great skill to have in your arsenal, especially if you are particularly enjoying traditional media, like color pencil, glass painting, and watercolors. 2D animation. This is vector-based animation and has two distinct advantages. It is cheap and easy to access. You need a basic understanding of keyframes and know how to use Adobe Animate CC. 3D animation. 3D animation and visual effect are quite simply the way of the future. 3D animation operates on different principles and is more akin to puppetry than traditional animation. For this, you need to learn how to digitally model a character, sculpt it perfectly, and give it a skeleton that you can move and manipulate. Fourth, motion graphics. These visual effect techniques involving moving graphic elements, such as text or logos, mostly using software such as After Effects. For example of this is those working in the advertisement industry, or doing multimedia project, or even designing the opening of film titles. Lastly, stop motion is like traditional animation, except instead of drawing, you have clay models and a set that you have to carefully manipulate to produce animation. Stop motion can also be done with puppet, cutouts, and even action figure. In the past, stop motion was used in a form of special effect for live action films and has largely been replaced by 3D animation and visual effect work. However, there are filmmakers like Tim Burton who work almost exclusively with stop motion. Okay, student, and that would be the end of our topic.